What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Drafters TV. I'm Ben Hauver, and today we're going to be taking a look at the top DFS values at running back for Week 10 in the NFL, Duke Johnson and Mike Davis. Before we get into the video, make sure you are subscribed to the channel. Helps us out, helps the content keep coming. We're really close to that 400 sub benchmark, trying to get there as soon as we can. So subscribe to the channel and like this video if you like what you see. Now, let's get into it. Last week, Christian McCaffrey made his triumphant return to action. However, unfortunately, injured his shoulder during the game. Now, Mike Davis is set to resume the starting role that he had for the last 6 weeks during Christian McCaffrey's absence. I'm not really sure what DraftKings was thinking here. They prematurely dropped Mike Davis's price all the way down to the stone minimum, 4K flat. As a result, Week 10 is Mike Davis week. Despite drawing a tough home matchup against the Bucs, it's going to be nearly impossible not to plug Mike Davis into every lineup on DK this weekend. This is a player who will be on the field for 75 to 85% of snaps. This game has a ton of scoring potential. The total currently sits at 50.5, and Davis's floor is boosted because of his role in the receiving game. Even when CMC came back and caught 10 balls last week, Mike Davis still had 6 targets. In cash games, Mike Davis is a free square cash game lock. Don't think twice about it. Just plug him in. And I think in smaller field tournaments like single entries and 3 maxes, he's pretty close to being a lock as well. In large field GPPs, it's still going to be hard not to play him. If he's the min price 4K catching 5 to 6 balls and somehow manages to score a touchdown, then there's a good chance you're drawing dead if you don't have him. That being said, there is merit to fading any player who's going to have the type of ownership that Mike Davis will have this week. I think he's going to be 50+% owned in tournaments. He'll most likely be the highest owned player that we've seen on DraftKings up to this point this year. Fading him is risky, but it does give you incredible leverage. It would be an exclusively large field GPP type fade, I think. Over on Drafters, I did a weekly snake draft in their $3.30 splash tournament, and I saw Mike Davis go extremely high. In one draft, he went at the 26th pick ahead of guys like Josh Jacobs, James Conner, Nick Chubb, and Kareem Hunt. At that draft price in this format, I'm actually pretty comfortable getting away from him. In drafters leagues, the value comes from getting players late in the draft. You know, it's a standard weekly snake draft. There's no salary cap. So while Davis does still profile as a good play straight up, taking him ahead of guys like Jacobs, Conner, and Chubb, not quite sure about that. It's like paying more for Davis than them in a salary cap format, and I just don't think that it's worth it. You're just reaching too hard at that point. Guys like Kareem Hunt and David Montgomery went undrafted in this league. I took Duke Johnson 11 picks later with my last pick, and in terms of value, I much prefer that. And while we're here, we got to talk about Duke Johnson. David Johnson is expected to miss this week's game against Cleveland with a concussion, and Duke Johnson will be an extremely popular play in all DFS formats. In terms of DraftKings, I don't think his ownership will be quite as out of control as Mike Davis's will be. He's priced $1,000 more, 5K flat, but that's still a phenomenal price. Duke Johnson had a career-high 16 attempts last week, and I think that he should just completely dominate snaps at the running back position in Houston's backfield this week. The only other active running backs that they will likely have are CJ Prosise and Buddy Howell, 2 guys that I have absolutely no concerns about. Duke Johnson will likely see 15 to 20 attempts again in this spot. He will maintain his regular receiving role. He's caught 9 out of his 9 targets over the last 2 weeks. Like Mike Davis, I think that you consider Duke Johnson a cash game lock. Plus, we have the boosted revenge game narrative. Duke Johnson spent the first 4 years of his career in Cleveland. He was always underutilized with them, and in Week 10, gets a chance to take it to his former team. In DraftKings tournaments, I think that Duke Johnson is an easier fade than Mike Davis just because at 5K, it'll be harder for him to completely bury you if he hits, but still, I think he's a phenomenal play. I do want exposure to him in tournaments. And on Drafters, I made reference to it before, but I took him with the last pick in a league I did this morning. He's consistently falling to the last 10 picks of these Drafters weekly drafts, and I think that Duke Johnson is the best pure value at running back on Drafters this week. But what do you guys think? I want to hear your thoughts on Mike Davis and Duke Johnson. Do you think that one is clearly better than the other for Week 10? Are you going to have the stones to fade either of them in DFS this week? I mean, I don't know if I will. Maybe you will. Let me know in the comments section below. And yeah, like I said, guys, make sure you're subscribed to the channel, like the video, and that's going to be it. We will have more content on this channel this week, and I will talk to you then.